The switcher is used for what can only be described as instantaneous editing. The groups or rows of buttons on a switcher are commonly known as a bus. All switchers have a program and preview bus. The program monitor, which is on the right, shows us what source is currently active in the program bus. The preview monitor is on the left, and that shows us what source is in the preview bus. Often a camera's tally light is tied to the program bus. And every time that camera is punched up on the program bus, the tally light is illuminated. This indicates the camera is live or hot. Beside the program and preview bus, you will find a fader bar. This bar manually transitions between program and preview. The transition that's used depends on what is selected. DIS stands for dissolve, and as you can see, it's a soft transition between program and preview, where one source fades out as the other source fades in. The speed of the dissolve depends on the speed you move the fader bar. The cool thing about most switchers is that once the transition is done, no matter where your fader bar is, it will still transition from program to preview. The sources actually swap. So the next source that you want to transition to, you would simply punch in preview. Some switchers have a third row attached to them, called a key bus. This means the fader bar must do double duty. It can be set to transition between program and preview, or it can be set to transition to bring on a key source. We will discuss keying a little bit later, but for now, know that to make sure your fader bar is transitioning between program and preview, make sure the background button or BKG button is illuminated and any key buttons are not. Other transitions you might find on a switcher are wipes. You can choose the type of wipe, horizontal, vertical. There are several different patterns, and there are lots of choices. Again, the speed of the wipe depends on the rate that you move the fader bar. Many switchers also allow you to position the wipe and affect the edge of the wipe, giving you the option of borders or feathers, which means to soften the edges of the wipe. The last transition option you might find is DVE. That stands for Digital Video Effects, and probably has many options. Again, you can select these by punching different patterns in the top left of this particular switcher. You'll find that it can fly things in, push things in. There are many different options, but use these effects sparingly. Simple is often better. The cleanest transition is a take or cut. This is simply punching on program one source and then to another. Now remember, the speed of our effect was directly related to the speed at which you were using the fader bar. If you're looking for a more consistent, uniform speed, you can use the auto transition. The speed for this is measured in frames, so a 30-frame auto transition would take 1 second, a 60-frame, 2 seconds, and so on. Now let's take a minute to look at the TriCaster. This is more than a switcher. It is a studio in a box. It has 2 digital tape decks, a character generator, and an audio board. Plus, it rolls tapes for you and takes the audio. In addition, it can record feeds for you. It also automatically advances CG and your video clips. It might look a little intimidating at first, but we already see several pieces that we recognize. A program bus, a preview bus, a program monitor, a preview monitor, a fader bar, and transition buttons. What's new is the 2 digital storage places, DDR1 and DDR2. To access the bins for any of these sources, simply click the tab and see what's loaded in there. As you can see, there are several clips already loaded into DDR1. If I want to add some more, I simply click the Add button and see what sort of clips have already been imported. It is important to import your clips, not just bring them in from an external source. The steps to import can be found on a document on your class Moodle page. To load a clip, we make sure we are looking at clips and under import, and then it's in alphabetical order. We can change the order of these clips in the bin simply by clicking and dragging. To set up the TriCaster to automatically play clips and give us audio from them when we put them up in program, we choose Autoplay, Single. Choosing Single assures it will stop when it gets to the end of the clip. Otherwise, it will play all the clips one right after the other. In order to get the audio, we need to access the audio interface. We're going to look for a tab that says Audio. Find DDR1 and make sure the fader is up and Follow is checked. You can check your level by punching DDR up in program. You should be hearing it and seeing the VU meters. Remember, audio should live, which means it should average -12 dB, not peak at -12 dB. If you don't hear audio, you need to check to make sure that the master level is also faded up. If you see it but don't hear it, make sure you are monitoring it on the audio board. All other bins for sources can be accessed similarly. You will see a bin for DDR2 and graphics, and these are where you store all your lower thirds and full screen CGs. To access CG on program or preview, you will find a button labeled TXT. Next, we will talk about keying.